What is up, Party Bowl? It is your boy Dip here, and today I got a story time for you guys. Now, this story is when I was a young lad, when I was about 15. Anyways, now I went to a school called Lenape Tech. This school had a bunch of options to go to if you wanted to be like a nurse, if you wanted to be a construction worker, if you want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a hairstylist, if you want to be a chef, if you wanted to be like, if you wanted to be something, the school probably had. If you wanted to be an IT guy, like if you wanted to set up like computers for people, they had that. If you want to be a fucking news reporter, for God's sakes, they had that. And so, let it be known that this school, like I said, had many options. I'm going to be telling you 3 stories. And the second story is like a short story, but just remember for the second story, there was a lot of options. Now, the first story is when a kid broke a fucking planer. A planer, if you don't know what it is, and if you had wood shop, a planer is a machine is that you put a board in, and you have to take off 1/16th at a time, and it makes it thinner. Like the board, you put a thick board in there, it gets thinner. So this kid, he takes a board that was maybe an inch and a half. An inch and a half is pretty big for like a board, how thick a board is. So he puts it in the machine. Instead of taking 1/16th off at a time, he sets the machine of where he wants it to be. And he sets it to, for God's sakes, I think he set it to a ½ inch. That board destroyed the machine. Like, that board came out that thick, came out about that thin. And the chunks that flew out of that machine. Like I said before, for a planer, you have to set it, you have to take off 1/16th at a time. There's no exception. You have to take off 1/16th at a time, or else you're going to break the fucking machine. The chunks that flew off this board were about this big, like the size of like a Hot Wheel toy car. That's how big the chunks were, and they were just flying everywhere. And who's the lucky person he picked to help him with that project? He asked me, hey, can you put the board in, come to think about it, I'm starting to think that son of a bitch tried to get me in trouble. That little bastard. Anyways, he's working at Walmart now, so who gives a shit. Anyways, he puts the board, well, he gives me the board. I already think the machine is set to what he wants, and he says, oh, I need it set to a ½ inch. No, he didn't even tell me what he needed it to. He just said, listen, it was Monday and I was tired as fuck. So I'm going to be standing there thinking, alright, I'll help you. And so I'm standing there, I put the board in the machine. Chunks start flying out at me. And I look at the board like, I look at him and said, what did you set it to? And then everyone comes rushing over. And they're asking me, what did you do? What are you doing? Well, come on, you know you're better. You should know better than that. I said, don't blame this on me. It was him. I fucking just threw him right under the bus. And he was like, yeah, it was me. I didn't know how to run it. And so I guess it was, no, I'm not taking any part of it. I probably should have checked before. But everyone, everyone didn't like the kid in the first place. And he was kicked out because he destroyed that machine. That machine had to be replaced. Like, the blades needed to replace. I think just the blades. I don't know. There was a lot of things that needed to be replaced with that machine, and it cost a lot of money. That machine costed a lot of money. And we were without a planer for a long time. I think we were out with like a planer for about 2 or 3 weeks. And alright, so yeah, that kid's gone. Nope, gone. Never came back. Which is good. Second story. The second story I have with you guys is really short. Now remember what I said before. This school had a ton of options. So we had like a new teacher, and he decided to teach the class how to run machinery properly, like hand tools, like saws and drills and other stuff. He takes a circular saw, and he starts cutting a board, like showing us how to properly cut a board. And he looks up and says, anyone want to give it a try? And he looks at this skinny kid. Skinny kid. Skinnier than me. Skinnier arms than me. Skinnier arms than me. And he looks at the kid and says, you want to have a shot, kid? And he's going like, I don't like saws. That was his voice, by the way. I don't like saws. Everyone in that room, half of the class in that room looked at him and said, then why did you pick carpentry? This is a different kid, by the way. This is a completely different kid from the first story. So yeah, that was a quick story I ought to tell you guys. Now here's the third story. This is the same kid from the second story. This kid, so a sander. I'm not talking about like a hand sander. I'm talking about like a big sander, like a planer that was a sander. Like it would smooth out the board so the board wouldn't be rough. And also make it thinner because you can only put like a board that like if the board was 1.5, not 1.5, if the board was half an inch thick, you would have to put it through the sander because the board could shoot out and hit you in the face, which happened to the kid. So the sander, he put the sander, this fucking piece of wood he used, the size of a picture frame. No joke. This thing was the size of a picture frame. He puts it in the sander. You know, sander's going in. He's say the bed is like say my bed is the table for the sander. He puts it in. Sander's taking it nice and easy. What did this stupid motherfucker decide to do? He looks in the tray to see if where the board is going, because he probably thinks it's going to fucking Narnia or something, seeing if like someone's doing it for him. What happens? Kerplunk! Hits him in the face, knocks his glasses off. This kid wore glasses. Like not like he I just remembered something about that kid. He wore his safety glasses, then his prescription glasses. By the way, I'm just going to add that. Anyways, the board cracks him in the forehead, knocks off his glasses, his prescription glasses, and his safety glasses. Goes to the nurse. Takes the kid to the nurse, and we had to look for his lens because the lens fell out of his like prescription glasses. We had to look for the lens. Like me and this girl and this other dude, we're standing around going like this, like going like toe to toe, going toe to heel, making sure we don't step on his lenses. We found it by the planer. Not somehow it didn't go. It wasn't in front of the planer. It wasn't like 20 feet behind the planer. The fucking lens was behind. No, it was behind the sander. Not planer, sander. I meant it was behind the sander, which I don't know how it got there. And so we got his lens back, and this kid, he comes back with a little cut, just a little cut, and I just no, there's no way he would have just come back from that with just a little cut on his forehead. So yeah, that was the story. Those were the 3 stories of people at my school. And whenever I feel dumb when I do something stupid, I think back of the first story about that kid. And I got a crap ton of stories from Tech. And I'm going to tell you another one. Why not? Okay, so there was this kid. This is another different kid. Second year at school. Radio arm saw. A radio arm saw is like a circular saw, but it's like on a table. I think it's a radio arm saw. Yeah, it's been a long time since I used one. So for a radio arm saw, you're supposed to slowly cut the wood. This kid did not understand the word slowly. He would slam down on the saw like it was like a freaking like he was like an executioner for like a electric chair, and he would slam down like how the guy slams down on a switch. He would just slam down. And so one day, me and this kid were making a picnic bench. And so we were just sitting there waiting for one of the guys who was helping us to come back with one of the tools. We were sitting there talking. All we hear is ka-tunk, and we see a little piece of wood flying across the sky. We both looked at it like it was like in slow motion, like we saw it land. That kid was never allowed to use power tools ever again. He would have to use hand tools like actual saws and hammers. Well, we didn't really have an automatic hammer. Actually, yeah, we did. We just never used it. He was never allowed to use a drill press, too. So, yeah, that was my time in carpentry of Lenape Tech. And let's just say those 3 years were complete bullshit. So, yeah, those are my stories. I hope you guys liked this video. Leave a comment. If you went to my school, if you were in my shop, leave a comment about your favorite time there at school. Because I know some people are subscribed to my channel that went to my school. I'll see you guys in the next video, We're at 100 subscribers. I want to say thank you to hitting over 100 subscribers. And yeah, that's it. See you guys later. Dip out. Bam.